Chicago Bears and Denver Broncos have started their seasons off terribly with a record of 2-4. Both teams have shown that they are similar with not just their records, but their style of play on the offensive side of the ball. What made me realize that the Bears and Broncos were alike was the teams they beat, with them only having wins against the San Francisco 49ers and the Houston Texans. This could be a coincidence, but it's strange to see that at that time the only teams they could beat were the Niners and Texans. Neither team has won on the road as well, with both teams winning each of their games at home. Another reason why I think my theory is correct about both teams being identical is because each team's offense struggles to score touchdowns and even get first downs. The Denver Broncos are last in points per game, which isn't what people expected from their team having a Pro Bowl quarterback in Russell Wilson. Wilson has played more like a backup quarterback rather than a franchise quarterback with the Broncos. Their team has had a lot of injuries to their offense, with them losing their running back Javonte Williams and their wide receiver Tim Patrick from them both tearing their ACL. Although that shouldn't be an excuse because they still have good players on their team that can help their offense, like wide receivers Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. The Bears' offense hasn't looked great either, with their team being second to last in points per game. They have slightly gone away with their philosophy of running the ball more than passing, with them letting their quarterback Justin Fields throw the ball more. Even though they are letting Fields pass more, it hasn't worked that well, with Fields not being able to consistently get the ball in the end zone and score touchdowns. It's not all the quarterback's fault for each team because neither Wilson or Fields has time in the pocket to pass the ball. Their offensive line hasn't really helped them move the ball down the field and are one of the reasons why the quarterbacks haven't done well. The Bears and Broncos probably have the same struggles on the offensive end of the field, from both teams having their offensive play callers come from similar backgrounds. The Broncos head coach and offensive play caller Nathaniel Hackett used to be the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, while the Bears offensive coordinator, offensive play caller Luke Getsy used to be the quarterbacks coach for the Packers. Both coaches have tried to make their quarterbacks play to their system, but so far it hasn't worked. An example of both teams' offense struggling to score is when they both played on Thursday night, where the Broncos played the Colts and the Bears played the Commanders. In the Broncos-Colts game, the Broncos didn't score a touchdown, but they had a chance to win the game in overtime. They decided to let Russell Wilson throw the ball on fourth down to either get a first down or a touchdown. When he threw the ball to his receiver Courtland Sutton, the ball got batted down by the cornerback Stephon Gilmore, which lost them the game. In the Bears-Commanders game, the Bears made it to the red zone 3 times, and they weren't able to score in any of the drives. The first time they made it to the red zone, Justin Fields threw an interception. The second time they went for it on fourth down, and they were still unable to get in the red zone. Their third time in the red zone, they had an opportunity to win the game, but they still couldn't get a touchdown, with Justin Fields completing a pass to his receiver Darnell Mooney on 4th and goal. Mooney was unable to reach the end zone when he had the ball, which cost the Bears the game. I think these examples of both teams' offenses help explain why I believe the Bears and Broncos are both in similar situations. It's not like these teams are losing by double digits or don't have a chance to win the game, because each team has only lost by 8 or less points in 5 of their 6 games. Both teams have first-year head coaches, with the Broncos coach being Nathaniel Hackett and the Bears coach being Matt Eberflus. So both coaches will figure out how to better run their team eventually. However, they have to find a way to win games quickly, or their teams will lose confidence in their momentum to achieve a winning record, or even say they had a successful season. Even though I said that the Broncos and Bears are similar teams with the same problems, they still have a few things that make them different from one another, such as the Bears being seen as a rebuilding team, which is understandable because they have a young roster and are still figuring out their identity. The Bears also have a young quarterback in Justin Fields, who still has time to develop as a player and has a lot of potential. The Bears just have to be patient with their team and let their players continue to develop, while the Broncos are not a rebuilding team and seen as a team that's contending. They signed Russell Wilson to a contract extension for 5 years, $245 million. Unfortunately, he hasn't lived up to his contract, and he has put the Broncos in a bad situation where they are 2 games under 500. The Broncos traded away some of their players and draft picks to acquire Russell Wilson, so I would say the Broncos are in a worse situation than the Bears. The Broncos and Bears have had tough seasons so far, with their teams losing close games and not showing a lot of progress with their offenses. Even though their teams are having a lot of success right now, they still have a long way to go until the season ends, which means that both teams still have time to improve and even finish with a winning record this season.